And I'm really not a big fan of saying, no, if you're an opera singer, then you cannot do musical theater, because it's just not true. But unfortunately, yes, the industry is like that. But I personally will not put myself in like a box, because I enjoy doing both.
So wonderful to meet you here on Zoom.
Likewise, thank you so much for inviting me.
And where are you now at the moment?
I'm in Vienna now. At home.
You're here. Okay. Oh, wonderful.
You also live in Vienna, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
But where were you born?
Also here.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Born and raised in Vienna.
Okay, so that's interesting. But now, you're a baritone.
Yes.
And tell me your story. Where did music? Where did you get inspired to sing, or did you play an instrument first?
Well, yes, I did play piano when I was very young, like 7. I did it for a year, but I was not really interested in it. It's just my mom said we have to play piano, so I did it for a year, and then I stopped playing for a long time. And actually, a very profound moment in my musical career was actually when I was, I think, 12 or 13. When I went to London with my mother, and we wanted to see a musical called Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat by Andrew Lloyd Webber. Yeah. And on our way to the theater, we passed the Dominion Theater where they were playing We Will Rock You, the Queen musical. So I said, hey, why don't we go there? And she said, yeah, okay, fine, let's go there. And we went there, I saw the musical, I heard the music, and I loved it. I didn't really know Queen so much, but after that I bought a Queen album and listened to it the whole time. And then I decided, like, I didn't really like decide in that moment, but like somehow the seed to become a musician was sown in that moment. So
amazing.
I started playing guitar. I started taking piano lessons again. And then with like 15 or 16, my music teacher in my school said, hey, you know what? You should take voice lessons because I think you have a lot of potential. But, you know, in puberty, I was like, no, I'm not interested in that. But the older I got, like with 18, I started listening to classical music myself, just out of pure interest. And then actually after graduating high school, I went to the army. I wanted to actually stay in the army and become an officer, but I didn't manage to get into the military academy. So I then decided, okay, I'll just study history. And at the same time, my cousin came to me and said, hey, I have this voice teacher. He's really good. Why don't you come with me one time? Just, you know, just try it. Let's see what happens. So I went there. I sang a little bit. He said, yeah, you know, you have a good material. You should take lessons. And I said, okay, why not? And I started going there on a regular basis. And then after like a year, I said, like, okay, that's what I want to do.
Amazing. So, but that switch, because if you said you found Queen's music very interesting, I think they were also classically trained, all of them.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? But so you had then that genre music and then changed to, was it just automatically that you started being interested in classical music? Or what was that switch?
I actually don't know why. Well, actually I do know, because for my Matura, I took an exam in music, and one of the assignments or materials to learn was Don Giovanni, the opera by Mozart. So I had to listen to it because I needed to prepare for the exam. And because I listened to it almost every day, almost all the pieces. And that's actually when I started to develop a liking for that kind of music. But I'm not sure why I then decided to be an opera singer. I think that
It just evolved.
just evolved, yeah.
Yeah. And what was your mum then at that stage? What did she? I'm asking because I'm also a mum, and I want to know what your mum did to encourage you, or did she just leave you to explore yourself?
Well, I have to say I'm very lucky with my parents, because whatever I wanted to try, they always supported me.
Mhm.
And if I wanted to take lessons, piano or guitar lessons, they always paid for it. And they were, they always supported me. They were never against it. And now I think they're quite proud of how
Yes, of course.
far, even though it's not, I'm still at the beginning of my career, but I'm advancing, definitely, yeah.
No, but I mean, we have to, I think, be proud of every stage, you know, and everything you've accomplished is really something to be proud of. And I don't think it's, you know, if we always look in the future and think only then will it be justifiable to you know, to have this credit, but you've done so much already.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then you went to study. Where did you go and study music then?
Well, with 19, I went to a private teacher. His name is Gordon Bovinet. Actually, he studied with a lot of classical singers. One of them was, for instance, Gertrude Riebler, who was a prima donna at the Met, but like in the 50s or 40s, so a long time ago. But he was, even though he was classically trained, it just career-wise, he became a musical singer. So that's how I also got to learn a lot of, like, he also taught me a lot of musical pieces, and that's also where I developed a liking for musical theater. And I was with him for 2 years. Then I went to, then I applied for MDV in Vienna, didn't get in. So I went to Sylvia Edelmann, the Richard Wagner Conservatory.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, stayed there 2 years, and then I applied for Musik und Kunst Privatuni Wien. And they barely took me there. I was on the waiting list, but I luckily I got a space there, and yeah, and I finished now with this semester.
Well, congratulations. How many years was that then?
So at MOOC 4 years, at Richard Wagner 2 years, and then 2 years private, so 8 years in total.
But you know, this I find fascinating, because I only realized this really when I did this project in Vienna, photographing artists in their windows. But I never realized that it took so many years of study, and still, you know, it can continue, that you still have to study, and I don't think everybody is aware of that. You know, that for 8 years for you to start your career is a very long time, and it's a lot of dedication as well.
Definitely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. Actually, you with arts, especially, you never stop studying, because you can always, you know, improve your technique, but also, you know, when you grow up, you have different experiences in life, and your view on things change. You know, your personality also develops and grows, and the way you approach art, the way you interpret things also changes. And yeah, so yeah, you never actually stop learning.
Mm-hmm. But this learning, or this strive almost to learn more and to know more, at some point, do you is it sort of demotivating also to think, when will I know enough, or when will I be there? You know, is it, or is it just the drive of learning that keeps you going?
That's an interesting question. I actually asked some of my more experienced colleagues, when was the point when you realized, okay, my technique is there and everything, and I can start working? And they said, never.
Oh, okay.
You actually never really know, because, for instance, if I think back 2 years, in the summer, I remember very clearly, I was like, okay, now actually, for the first time, I feel confident that my voice is good enough to, present it in a professional way. But now, today, if I listen to my recordings from 2 years ago, I was like,
really?
what was that? That was not good. So yeah, I think it really, you're never good enough. Or no, maybe not good enough. Maybe that's not the right way to do it. But definitely, there's always work to be done. You can always improve. And and it might even be dangerous a little bit to say it's good enough, because then you just stagnate eventually. And that's why I always I know colleagues, for instance, who don't take singing lessons anymore, which I find a bit critical. I don't think I personally would stop taking singing lessons, at least maybe twice a month or once a month at least, bare minimum, because especially with voice, you can never judge yourself the way that someone outside can judge your voice.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely try to continue having lessons and yeah.
But this is also a pressure on you, isn't it? I mean, this strive to get it perfected or to get to the next level. And then, like you say, you look back at 2 years and you think, okay, what was that? But in that time, it was good, for what you were able to do. But I'm just thinking, this is this pressure on you in a way?
It is sort of, yeah, it is definitely, because like I said, if I listened to the things 2 years ago, and I actually would have, presented it very widely, might have sounded good for me back then, but today it doesn't sound that good anymore. But it's already out there, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
Especially today, when everything is digitalized and you have YouTube and everything, and if you we upload a lot of things, but once it's there on the internet, it's very hard to take it out again. And and that is actually a problem. And that can create pressure, definitely. Mm-hmm. Especially if there are recordings of yourself that you didn't put there yourself, but other people did.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people do, and I'm not such a. I don't think that's a. I don't see that very positively.
Okay.
But what can you do if people record you during a concert or anything, and you have a bad day, and they upload it? Yeah, you can't really do anything about it.
But do you think the audience, because the audience are not educated as you are educated in your specific, your art. So we listen, and we listen with a different mindset. So do you think it's just the artists that are overcritical, or is it also the audience?
Definitely. The majority, definitely the artists themselves. Definitely. Like, my wife is also a singer. Actually, you had an interview with her, Đurđica Gojković, a Serbian soprano, and like, it's always like when she listens to me sing, and I'm like, no, that was not good and everything, and she said, no, actually that was quite good and fine. Or when I listen to her singing, and she's like, no, it was not quite there and everything, and said, no, but it sounded good to me. So yeah, definitely artists are more critical to themselves than the public is. Definitely. And yeah, like you said, we cannot expect the public to have years of vocal training or musical training, and also know the material as well as we do. Yeah.
But
So,
I also find something very interesting, and this is while we're talking about that, I thought of this is when I did this project and I sort of asked some of the young musicians to play in the window, like or the violin or flute or so. They were always not. They were always more concerned what their colleagues would think than what if I post it. They would say, some would say, so no, but my colleagues will be watching. If I say, no, it's wonderful and I'm so excited, and so no, we have to redo it because my colleagues will know, because if I think, so that you must have that pressure also.
I can totally understand what they're saying. Yeah, because of course, if your colleagues are also trained musicians, professional musicians, they also maybe listen to it a bit more critical. But at some point, you just have to, at some point, if you want to make music, you just have to make music.
Exactly.
I also learned there are always going to be people who won't like it or who have something to criticize it. But I have to say, I truly believe that the majority of people will definitely enjoy it. And the people not enjoying it is usually the minority.
And I think also it has to do a lot with your personality, because I think this is what distinguishes you from everybody else, that you put in your personality and your what you have to give, you put in there as well.
Definitely, yeah.
But now tell me, and what happened to Queen? Are you still singing in the shower?
Yes. I'm listening
Queen
to
songs?
them almost every day, yeah.
Really?
No, I don't have any signature to stuff. I have a lot of autographs from opera singers, but I don't have any Queen memorabilia, unfortunately. But it's my dream
really
to have a Freddie Mercury signature one day. But let's see, they're expensive. They're very expensive. Yeah.
But now, and you also talk about musical theater, and I saw you were in The King and I.
Sure.
Yeah, was that the musical?
Exactly.
Version, yeah. So tell me about that role that you played there.
Well, so that's where I have to come back to my first singing teacher, Gordon Bouvinet, because his husband is a musical agent in Vienna, Michael Staringer, and he contacted me last year and he said, hey, they're doing The King and I in Mörbisch, and they want to have Asian people doing the Asian roles. And he said, I think you would be perfect to play the lead role. And I said, yeah, gladly. I mean, I will definitely audition and see what happens. And I auditioned, and they said I'm too, and I also agree they couldn't give me the main role because they had already someone for the main role, and also for the cover role, I'm a bit of a no-name.
Oh, okay.
To give me the lead role, which I totally agree, which is also fine, yeah. But they gave me a small supporting role and like a tiny role, and then they also gave me a bigger supporting role where I would be the cover for that one. But I'm not in both roles. I'm not singing really. In the small role, a little bit. In the bigger supporting role, not at all. It's just speaking. Yes.
Okay. Well, it's great that you can see it that way. That you can understand it that way. Definitely. But that is a little bit unfortunate, isn't it? That that the industry is like that.
Yeah, I mean, I grow fonder and fonder with musical theater, even though I'm an opera singer. And I mean, I've been told at the very beginning that I should you should decide, are you going to be opera singer or musical singer, which I totally do not understand. Because for me, in my opinion, singing is singing, and the only important thing is to sing healthy. And then if you sing opera, you just have to adapt your technique and the interpretation a little bit. If you do musical theater, you sing still the same way, but you just have to make it a bit different. And if I also sometimes sing country music, yeah, it's for me, I try to sing always in the same way, but I just adapt it a little bit. And I think it's totally possible to do. And I'm really not a big fan of saying, no, if you're an opera singer, then you cannot do musical theater, because it's just not true. But unfortunately, yes, the industry is like that. But I personally will not put myself in like a box, because I enjoy doing both. And I will eventually, still not sure, but I think I will probably audition for Phantom of the Opera, which we're going to do in Vienna next year. Because I just like singing, and it doesn't matter if it's opera or musical. I just enjoy singing so much. And also, a job is a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I many years ago, there was a girl in Vienna, Jana, but unfortunately I can't remember her surname, but she actually did a thesis on this, how an opera singer can sing musical theater, and the voice can be used for different genres and effectively. So maybe it is a good time when you as young musicians start saying, okay, now, well, I want to do it. I want to be able to do both.
Definitely, yeah. And it is totally possible. I mean, what I would say is it's probably easier if you're an opera singer that sings musical than the other way around. I think that is true. I think if you just sing musical, especially modern musical only, then also switching to opera that might be difficult or almost impossible. But if you have a classical training, I think you can sing musical as well. Definitely, yeah. And I'll just try it for myself. I see what happens. Maybe I can break the stigma of opera singers not being able to sing musical and the other way around. Who knows?
Yeah. I would love that. And to think you said it here on my channel. Let that be the wish.
Let's see, because the old musicals, if you the golden age musicals from the 50s, 60s, that were usually opera singers or classically trained singers that did the musical. But the modern musicals, they're more rock and pop, so they don't have this classic vocal voice anymore. But yeah, but I think it's doable. I really think it's doable.
Yeah, that would be amazing if you can change that.
Amazing.
That stigma. But now you were a student during the pandemic. Did that in any way, do you think, hindered your studies, or did it sort of? Do you think there was a lot of obstacles at the time for you?
For me personally, not so much, because I didn't have lessons in the university for one semester at the very beginning of the pandemic, but that was fine because I also have options outside of the university to get voice lessons, which I definitely used. And I also, I have a very easygoing approach to studying at a university. I didn't take it too seriously. I mean, I of course I studied and everything, and I tried to get good grades. But for me, I knew from the beginning just that yes, a bachelor's degree or master's degree is definitely good. It's not a bad thing, but it doesn't guarantee you anything. So I did my studies. I tried to learn as much as possible, but I wasn't going crazy about it. I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm not getting lessons, or I cannot attend this class and now my future is ruined, or something that I totally didn't know. I was actually very easygoing on that. And I also try to not create pressure. I just try not to panic. I just say, okay, it is how it is. Try to make the best out of it. And I think I managed it quite well, definitely.
But many artists also said that they enjoyed this time, this bit of freedom, not the pressure so much on schedule and, have to be there and have to rehearse for this and that. So was it also a time where you think it was good for you to just take a little bit of a break?
No, I wouldn't say that, because I was still my studies, and like I said before, I didn't take the studies too seriously. I'm not someone that like learns like crazy, and also I had the luck that my professors and teachers in other subjects, they didn't put a lot of pressure on me by saying like you have to learn 20 pieces until tomorrow. So no, actually I had some concerts and projects that were canceled where I thought that was quite a pity, and I would have loved to actually do them.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it was that way for me. Yeah.
Yeah. But now, also something that's interesting for me is that when you finish your studies, then you have to now go into this career, but there's no guarantee. So you have to now manage yourself, and you have to promote yourself and so on. So is that something also that you think about before, that you start thinking, because you talk now that you had concerts. So is that something in the time that you study that you start doing concerts and getting yourself known with the right people?
Yeah, I think it's definitely not a bad idea to start early. Definitely not. And maybe you should, in your last year of your studies, maybe attend some big competitions. I mean, if you can manage to get to the final rounds. But I didn't do that because, again, it's I didn't want to pressure myself too much. I didn't want to say, okay, now I'm finished with my studies. Now I have to find a work. Now I have to find an agent or a theater that hires me. Because, like I said, I'm in a very lucky situation that I'm financially stable, and I have my apartment and everything. And so I said, okay, I'm going to take it one by one. I finished my studies. Now the summer I'm going to spend like really polishing my auditioning repertoire, and then in autumn or winter I'm gonna just go to the agencies and audition and see what happens, and also do some competitions over the year. But yeah, like I said, I don't have to do everything at once, fortunately. I'll take it one by one.
Well, you seemed very chilled. I like that.
I think the business, and also what I experienced now in Meerbusch, it can already be very tough and hard enough.
Yeah.
So if I have the luxury for myself to play it slowly without stressing myself too much, then I'll do it like that.
Do you have outside also interests outside of the industry, like sport and so on?
Like a hobby, you mean?
Yeah, like, do you do some sort of sport or?
I go. I mean, I go to the gym 3 times a week, and in the summer I love riding my bicycle through Vienna. I think it's very practical to have a bike in Vienna, definitely. you're much faster than if you take the public transportations. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
pretty much.
you seem to be really in a very good place.
I am.
Yeah, this is amazing.
I definitely am.
Yeah.
No, like I said, I'm very fortunate. Definitely.
But now, Jubin, tell me, what are your wishes for the future now? Where do you see yourself going?
Well, I think I am ambitious, definitely. And I think I also had a very good development with my voice and just in general, my musicality and everything. I mean, yeah, I think every opera singer wants to sing on the big stages. Staatsoper, Met, whatever. Yeah. I think that's a good, might be a good thing to aspire to get there. But I'm also aware that it's very hard to get there and that it might not happen. But I think what would be good for me in the near future is to be in a small theater, just where I can sing a lot without having a pressure of having like to, for instance, if I would start now at Staatsoper, I might survive, but I think for a young singer to already start in such big houses might be detrimental in the end, because there in these big houses, you're one person, or you're like one how do you say, Zahnrad in the machinery, and usually you're there for a while and then you're gone again because you're spent or whatever reason. So I would love to spend the next couple of years in a small theater in the ensemble there, just do my roles, eventually also having bigger roles. But definitely for the future, or the further future, I would love to experience also the big houses. But I also have to say, I'm not someone who says like, I want to experience them, but I don't have to necessarily be like the primo uomo there, or the first baritone or something like that, because I think in the end, for me at least, it's more important to be able to do my art than to have my art dictated by other people, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I think in like smaller theaters, I can maybe how do you say, present my artistry a little bit more freely than if you go to like one of these mega houses where you're just like one person in hundreds, and
and a lot of pressure also.
A lot of pressure. You have to perform. If you don't perform, you're gone. You're so irreplaceable.
Yeah.
That's why I also try to, take things slowly.
Yeah.
And
I totally agree.
Really good with my craft.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I think you've got it all sorted out. No, definitely. Yeah. I absolutely love your approach. And I think it's the right way, because I think there's also very much pressure sometimes on younger artists to do these bigger roles, and then they're not ready and mature enough for it, and then they sort of get casted aside, and I think that's worse.
That is, and that is, unfortunately, that's the truth of how things work also. Yeah, definitely. And it's a very tough business, and you need to have a very thick skin, and you need to, I think, endure a lot. And if you want to get to the top, you need to have a tough skin, definitely.
Yeah.
And also it helps if you're a good performer, a good singer, and and good artists, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's true. I totally agree with you there. But now, this was so wonderful to talk to you. Very insightful. I really like your approach to things. And but I would love to know now, can you do a shout out for your favorite restaurant or coffee shop in Vienna?
Favorite restaurant or coffee shop in Vienna?
Where do you hang out?
Well, actually, yeah, well, the gym I go to, it's called Das Gym, which is it's not your typical gym like or something. It's just one place, and it's very unique, and the owner puts a lot of effort into making it a very unique place. And they also have a restaurant there where I actually work, because I was working at that gym for a year.
Okay.
They have a sort of restaurant, and they also sell very good coffee. And it's the restaurant inside the gym is called Das Anabol.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's it's a good place.
Oh, okay.
Definitely.
Do you have to be a gym member to go to that restaurant?
Oh, you do not. You do not.
Oh,
It's inside the gym, and you just tell them like, I would like to eat or drink something, and they let you in. Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting way to do it, to have a restaurant in a gym.
In the gym, yeah. And the special thing about them is what they sell is bowls. Like, there are lots of bowl restaurants now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But the thing is, there you can create your own bowl, and you can also type in, you have a tablet there with the app, and you can type in how much gram you want of all the ingredients, and it tells you also how much carbohydrates, how much protein.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it's for fitness people, for them to track their food.
Oh, that's great.
So that's their unique concept, and it's successful.
That is great. I mean, I'm going to go and try it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. But so just tell me the gym's name again.
Das Gym.
That's it. Das Gym.
Das Gym. It's in the 2nd district.
Yeah.
Next to Ernst Happel Stadion.
Oh, okay. Good. But I'll put the link of the gym and the restaurant in the description.
Yeah. That would be very good.
Yeah. Okay. So have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you so much for the interview. I also really enjoyed it. Definitely.
Okay, I'm very happy about
that. You have very good questions, I have to say.
Oh, really? Oh, yes. No. I'm very glad.
These are the kinds of questions I at least like to answer.
Yeah, because I think it then gives people more insight, because it's also, I'm an outsider in the industry, and I think this is, questions that I think always I would like to know, and I think many people who are not in the industry, this would also be interesting for them to know. Yeah. Good. Okay.
Thank you so much. Bye.
It's a pleasure. Bye.
Bye.